Welcome Junior Takis, my name is Mrs. Ramla. This video is on the section Human Impact on the Environment, and this section I will be dealing with exam questions. Before you do the exam questions, please watch the theory video, print the memo, and have the worksheet with you at hand.
Right, 322. Why the increased phosphate levels caused a decrease in biodiversity? 3 marks. Phosphates, did we learn that word anytime? Yes. When? Yes. So see how they're tricking the learners here. They're not saying nitrates. You learn that fertilizers have nitrates and phosphates. So what is this going to lead to? Eutrophication. So that's the first mark. What does eutrophication cause? Algal bloom. If the algae covers the entire surface of the water, what happens? No oxygen for the plants. Plants die. Fish die. Only 3 marks. So they're asking a decrease in biodiversity. So you have to name which organisms are going to be killed and how it causes it. So remember my beautiful picture I drew on the board yesterday with the plants and my infinity sign? The stepwise picture, I hope so. Explain how the reduction in biodiversity can affect the ecological balance in the dam. 323 is actually grade 10 work. You know, when you did in grade 10, ecosystems, food chains, trophic levels, and I'm noticing from this year, 2015, they're asking a lot about it. So please make sure you know this work. So how can reducing biodiversity affect the ecological balance in the food in the dam? How many marks? 4. And that's why this is the section that prevents learners from getting 100% for life science. So for next year, can we at least get one person who's going to get 100%? Yes. So we will see on TV, maths, science, 100% and life science. Because it's this section, bringing out the grade 10 work. Remember, 15% of life science is supposed to be application. 50, yes. 1-5. So Chris, you answer first, then your friend next to you. What will you say firstly?
Because of eutrophication, certain species of plants will flourish, which will cause other species to die, which will change the balance in the dam, and as a result, other species will be affected as well, which will drastically affect the change, or drastically affect the ecological balance of the dam.
Okay, so you said the 2 things. So 2 things are correct, and then you said the second 2 points, the exact same things. Right. So if the biodiversity is affected, certain organisms might flourish while other species die. When they ask you a food chain question, please do me a favor and write this answer down. It will cause an imbalance in the ecosystem. You must get a mark for it. So I'm already giving you 1 mark out of 4. Always, if there's a food chain question or balance in the ecosystem, right there will be an imbalance in the ecosystem or food chain. That will definitely get you 1 mark. With the organisms and lack of food, now let me explain to you, human beings. If you have no food to eat, what will you do? Don't say, I'm just going to die. No, we don't die. And species don't die. You will look for, if there's no meat and chicken and fish, you will look for another source of food. So that's what organisms do. Then they move to another ecosystem and put pressure on that ecosystem. And then there's more competition, and then there's problems. Then still leads to an imbalance in the ecosystem or food chain. Yes, another food source, yes. Because that you should have learned in grade 8, yes. Then there's more competition for resources, eventually imbalance in the food chain or ecosystem. 4 marks. Remember, you must have 4 important points. And then, what is meant by biological control? Bio means living, right? Living. So the use of living organisms to control the numbers of another living organism. The use of living organisms to control the numbers of another living organism. You don't have to write these answers down. You've got the year on the top of your paper. Go home, type in Google, and type in the memo. Will come up for you. Just remember that all memos that you see on the internet, memos do change. No memo is perfect, right? So the memos are there. You got homework. You don't have to write down now. You can listen. Next one. That's the last one in the booklet, but I have more for you. 3.3.1. So let's read the part. Irfan, read it out for me, the top part.
The table below shows the global carbon dioxide emissions of fossil fuel combustion and some industrial processes in 2008.
2008, this paper was the March 2015. So you have the countries, China, European Union, USA, India and Russia, Federation, other. Then you have the percentages. Draw a pie chart to represent the data in the table, 6 marks. I'm sure we all can draw a pie chart, but we will not do that now. 3.3.2. Explain the impact of the increased carbon dioxide emissions on the environment. How many marks? 3. So you must have 3 different important answers. I taught you one yesterday. The more carbon dioxide we have that we are producing, it's leading to the enhanced greenhouse effect. What is that also going to be known as in brackets? Let's not use the word global warming, climate change. Yes, put it in brackets. But the increased carbon dioxide concentration is leading to enhanced greenhouse effect. Come. Another impact. Okay, so we'll be happy with 1 out of 3. Yeah, don't throw words at me, you have to explain. Come.
Ocean acidification and coral bleaching.
I can't hear what you're saying.
Ocean acidification and coral bleaching.
Okay, you're probably the only one who knows about ocean acidification. Is your school you do IB? Okay. So yes, unfortunately, let's hope all the markers know what that is as well, ocean acidification. But I would go with easier things like change in the weather pattern. Okay, although your answer is not wrong, it is correct. We should be doing that as well in the syllabus. You did it in school? You're just researching this on your own. Very good. Not a project at all. Okay, good. That, when you research, please just put it on the group today. All of them can go research and see how scary that is. So they must enjoy their seafood while they can. Ocean basket. If you don't go into the environment, you might not have no ocean basket. I'm joking. So, what's the other one? Climate change. We said how it leads to enhanced greenhouse effect, change in weather patterns, and then can lead to habitat destruction. 3 important points. Three. Each country has been given a mandate to reduce its carbon dioxide emissions to reach a certain target. This is reviewed annually by the Conference of the Parties. I'm sure we heard about the COP conference, a United Nations organization comprising of 195 countries that meets to assess progress in dealing with climate change. Explain 2 reasons why some countries are against reducing the carbon dioxide emissions by their industries. 2 reasons. How many marks? So for whatever you're going to say, you have to give me a reason, statement and reason. So you have to look at the marks. you do remember, okay, some of you have not done it, there's 2 protocols. The Kyoto Protocol is a protocol that was signed by many countries, except a few countries did not sign it, to reduce the carbon dioxide emissions. The Montreal Protocol was signed by countries to reduce the amount of CFCs. Okay, just make sure you know. So the Kyoto Protocol is used to decrease the amount of CO2. One of the countries that did not decrease or sign this Kyoto Protocol, guess which country? America. So now explain to us why they are against reducing the CO2 emissions by the industries. But the countries that do not sign the Kyoto Protocol are one of the richest in the world because their machinery are already established. For them to go change their machinery, it's going to cost them too much money, and what are they going to lose? Profit. So that is why they refuse to sign the Kyoto Protocol. Because remember now, think of America. Every factory and industry must change their machinery. They're going to lose more money than what they're actually going to be making. So no, they don't want to. And if it's too expensive and they have to change this, and they don't have enough money, what? They have to change the machinery, what will happen? It might lead to, which you're already seeing in America, a lot of job losses. Because if we force them to change their machinery, it will lead to reduction in profit and job losses. So that's why for them they've chosen not to change their machinery, because they will lose more money and they will, obviously, all their people will not have jobs. I'm not sure about all of those stats. You're talking about here in South Africa or America? Okay. We'll take your word for it, Jose. Right. Right. Okay, let's worry about our other problems, right? Okay, so now the last question, 333. Would you have known how to answer that question if it showed up in your paper? So what must you do? You're going to have to practice past exam papers. You have to. That's the only way for this section, for for 11, to master this section. And this section is 75 marks. And then for grade 12, only 25 marks. But it's the 25 marks where they can ask you general knowledge questions. Now already about the last one with the machinery. You have to practice the memos. Go over, do the questions, look at the memos. I would make my notes from question papers. Because every year there are different questions. Because remember, people are using the internet. Whatever in the news can be as a case study in your paper. Right. Let me just read to you the ones from the different provinces. Now, before I leave, I don't know if I will see many of you, but remember, if I don't get to see you, so the supplementary papers are a very good standard for you to prepare for next year. So the sub-papers are usually more difficult and more challenging, so you must make sure you do the sub-papers. The sub-papers also set a good standard for what you'll be getting at the end of the year. So this is the Feb-March 2017 paper. I want to read the questions to you. Don't write it down. You can get this on the internet. Right? The one question was, there's a graph and they ask you what's the human population at 3 million. Very easy, read off a graph. Then they're asking you, now let's see if I've prepared you for this. Describe the difference in the trends of the graph. What is the trend? The pattern of the graph. So they ask you to describe the difference. Then they ask you give 2 reasons for the trends. Next question, 3.5 for 6 marks. Describe how the excessive use of fertilizers by farmers impacts on the quality of water. I think that question all of you can answer. Another question, You can see tons of food thrown away each year. Food security. Explain 2 ways in which the drought is expected to increase the number of food insecure South Africans. And that is for 4 marks. So basically, you can see in most of these papers, they're only asking things that are relevant to South Africa. What's happening? Another question is 2 ways in which shopkeepers can reduce the amount of food going to waste. That is for 4 marks. Right. You have to practice these papers. And then I put on the group for you. Food security exists when all people, all times, are able to get safe, nutritious food. The food must be suitable for dietary needs. 2 factors that need to be considered for food to be suitable for a person's dietary needs. I can tell you now, I've not prepared my learners for this question. So when I go back to school on Monday, that's what I'm doing. Then they ask you, suggest 4 solutions to the problem of food security in South Africa. So the point I'm trying to say is, human impact is very nice to study. But they're going to ask you, we have a lot of problems. We have the problems of climate change, we have the problems of food insecurity, alien plants, and those are the solutions and strategies we're going to ask you, or you might be asked. So you need to practice these papers. You need to get them, you download them, you practice them. Make your notes from them. This is the section, usually question 3, that costs most of their learners their 100%. Because there's always that one answer you can never have. No matter how many papers, like that natural selection question, you can never have it.
Thank you for watching this video on the exam questions. Join me and watch all my other videos as well.